I thought I was going to use a PowerPoint, but then the PowerPoint might kind of limit my excitement. So I said, I don't want to use a PowerPoint. I'm just going to keep talking. Before I speak, I just want to introduce my wife, Rose. I met her when she was my girlfriend at 16. We got married when she was 18. I was 22. I was telling her, I saw you standing in front of her house and I have a crush on you, and I fell in love. 10 days later, I told her I was gonna marry her. 2 years later, and we're still together. We're from the Philippines, okay? I was a farm boy, grew up in my grandfather's farm. We were poor, and we met. Apparently, her father was a U.S. Navy, okay, in the Philippines. So we were able to go to the United States. I was 22, she was 18. We had no job during those times. You don't plan. You just fall in love, you marry, and you come what may. So we arrived in the United States. My first job was a filing clerk. I was working in New York in an office, and my job was to gather everybody's papers. I think they don't do that now. Everything is like paperless now. I have to go sell donuts. They have Dunkin' Donuts place. And I was 28 years old, and my dream, okay, because there were 4 of us selling donuts, and this guy comes at night and he makes the donuts, and he makes the same money as the 4 of us combined, you know? So I said to myself, I just want to be a donut maker. I could learn how to make donuts. I have made it in the United States. Anyway, from 22 to 28 years old. So after the anymore, studying is finished, and from 22 to 28, guess what happens when you don't learn anything? Nothing. So now I was 28 years old, and this 25-year-old guy at the office said, Romy, why don't you come with me? There's a meeting, and they will teach like how you can make extra money, you know, network marketing meeting. I didn't know what network marketing was. And here I am, 28 years old, married with 2 children, living in an apartment building in a 1-bedroom old building in Brooklyn, New York. I'm from Brooklyn. In Brooklyn, New York. And I told this guy, I don't want to attend any meeting, and I'm so tired. I just want to go home, have dinner, watch TV, come back to work the following day. He said, Romy, don't you have any dreams anymore? I tell you, that got me. You know, what dreams? Anyway, don't you want to learn some way to make extra money? So I went with him. So that was, again, I was 28 years old. That was my first I would say awakening that there's another way to earn money, there's another way to look at life, look at your future. It was a network marketing meeting, and I saw guys on the stage like this way. I said, I want to make money like those guys. You know what do I have to do? They told me I have to read books, listen to tapes, do training. So it's the same thing that we're learning today. It's mindset and skill sets. Now, I was hungry. I don't want to sell donuts anymore. I don't want to file papers anymore. I want something that I could do and really make a future for myself. That's when my dream was born. It took me 1 year of learning everything I wanted to learn. I read books from Tony Robbins, from Jim Rohn, from Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, Agmandino, The Magic of Thinking Big, Psychology of Selling, everything I could learn. I became and I learned that Anthony Robbins read like 300 books, I think. So I started reading books. That was when I was 28. I'm old now. I'm still reading every day. Learning network marketing, failing, joining, losing my group, starting all over again. At one point, my wife would tell me, because at 29 years old, a year after I tried to learn everything, I quit my job and I said to myself, I'm not working anymore. I'm going to go into this network marketing. See, when I read the Think and Grow Rich, it talks about burning your bridges behind you. you know. So I burned my ships, and there's no way I'm going back to the ocean. I'm gonna survive in this network marketing island and make it. And that's what I did. So again, for the next 20 years, I tried to sell all kinds of things. I was in Amway, I was in Herbalife, I was in Melaleuca, I was in insurance, I was in real estate, sales. If we come to a point where my wife would tell me, because I would go broke, why don't you so deep inside me? I have that faith that I will find a company that I can work and that I can excel, and I believe in the power of network marketing where you get 5 people, and those 5 will get 5, it becomes 25, and those 25 gets 5, 125, and 6,025, and 3,000. Anyway, I could see I could do that. Okay? So, I found Enagic some 19 years ago. Okay? After 20 years of trying different companies, I found Enagic. And at that point, Enagic became easier for me to start. I probably am different from most background in network marketing by the time I joined Enagic. They were preparation for me, for Enagic. Okay, so the way it happened was, my friend JB told me there's this Japanese guy who would come to California and do a presentation, and if you want, you fly down here. I said, JB, I don't have any money to fly. At the time I was broke, my real estate was bankrupt. My wife was losing her job, she's working part-time, we had no money. And my friend JB flew me to California to listen to Mr. Oshiro. The meeting was in Japanese. And Mr. Oshiro was like drawing circles on the whiteboard. That's how we started 19 years ago. There was an office in New York City. For Enagic, there were 2 employees, like the manager and a small desk in New York City. In California, it's the same thing. So we started small. JB and myself was the first distributor who speaks English. So only the Japanese was doing this business. Some people, and they quit. There's this one lady who quit because she said she could not understand the Japanese people in the office. She just told me this much. She joined Enagic again. Anyway, I went to my first meeting, and all I understood was that the water really worked. Because I spoke to some Asian people who told me how good the water is and how it changed their health. And I understood that people are making money. And I was so broke at the time and I need some money. So I came back to New York, bought my machine. Again, okay, I'm going to tell you the demo. And you, the onliners, who's doing the social media way. But the first 15 years of my business was done the old way. We would do demos. Okay? There was no YouTube and no social media. In fact, and then when I was in Herbalife, there's this guy named Larry Thompson. He has an audio tape. That audio tape is entitled Millionaire Training Tape. I must have listened to this tape hundreds of times. And there's one lesson in that tape. It says, talk to 10 people a day. I never was able to talk to 10 people a day, ever. I don't think so. But I would talk to 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. I had a notebook for the month, and I would write 1 to 10, 1 to 10, 1 to 10 for 30 days. And I would jot down the name of the people I talked to for the day. Okay? So I've been through these different mentors, teachers, whom I have learned so much about building business, about sales. You have to be aware of how to use your time every single day. It comes to a point one time where I calculated I'm worth about $500 per hour. I mean, at that time. So I would think to myself, don't waste my time, please. but you learn all these things, from different mentors. Like I said, Tony Robbins said, if you want to be successful, follow the pattern of a successful person. How that person believes, what that person do, how that person speaks. Okay? I have learned about the leadership. You have to know 4 things, leadership. One is you have to have a vision, okay, of what you want to accomplish. That vision has to be very clear in your mind. I learned about neuro-linguistic programming, where you can envision your future so clearly. You meditate on it. You see it before it happens. You gotta visualize. I learned about doing those dream boards. Okay. I remember when I was younger at the real estate office, I have a picture frame of dollars, and it says, my first $1,000,000. So even in my 20s and early 30s, I already wanted to become a multi-millionaire. And that's my first $1,000,000 hanging out there on the wall. I was asked, for instance, by Ricky Romy, how much is your sales volume now? I said, I stopped counting a long time ago. I started to make money. I was able to help many of my relatives in the Philippines. Okay, like I said, we were poor in the Philippines. I have a lot of cousins who are poor. And there was this area where my cousins inherited land from my grandfather, and that's where they built the house. So after I was able to have my own home in New York, once I started having money, I have an oceanfront home in New York. And a boat where I could go boating by the Statue of Liberty. And wave at the people on the big boat. On my boat. And then I built a house in the Philippines. I have a construction crew building houses now there. I'm building houses for my cousins for free. I have built 8 already. We have about 15 nieces and nephews who we paid for college, and we have more that we're paying for college now. And then when I was younger, I wanted to become a priest. You know? And then I met my wife, and I cannot be a priest and have a wife at the same time. So now I'm helping my priest friends in the Philippines building churches for them. My friends also, so I'm helping them building a seminary this year, actually constructing the building. I'm helping a religious group fighting human trafficking in the Philippines. Imagine we are able to do all these things. So that's legacy. The good thing is, what we build, we can pass on to the next generations. I have 2 sons, and whatever I build, me and my wife build, will go to them. So that's the legacy for the next generation. And in fact, we had a big event in Las Vegas, I believe, the last time. And 5 of my grandchildren were sitting in front, on that side. And they were listening to the speakers on the stage, including Balas. They listened to Balas. At the end of the day, my 12-year-old grandson said, Grandpa, how old do I have to be to become a Cancun distributor? Grandkids would play in the living room with things, pretending they're doing Cancun demo. I had Cynthia, my very first prospect. Could you believe that? He was talking about Matrix. Talking about getting out of the Matrix. Or going into this spiritual world that he was talking also. I believe that strongly. Not even strategize about compensation plan. To tell you the truth, I'm still confused with the compensation plan. I will ask my daughter Cynthia about the compensation plan. When she talks to me about it, I understand it. Then after we part, I forget it again. Then the manager in the United States told me, Romy, we know you're not even looking at your genealogy. I don't have to. My wife comes to checks. Praise God. You here, how did you get here in my organization? My very first day after seeing that presentation of Mr. Oshiro, Cynthia was with me. She did not join me that day. 45 days later, I was a 5A and I called Cynthia. I said, Cynthia, okay, I became a 5A in 45 days because I was so broke I needed money. I remember I told you to talk to 10 people a day. I was doing 3 demos a day. Morning, afternoon, and night. Okay. 90 days I became a 6A. But from Cynthia grew the Asian group. Okay, Cynthia, in fact, yesterday a guy named Pierre Chan wanted to speak to me, was so busy. And Pierre Chan brought in a guy named Bernard Chan from Singapore. Bernard Chan told me, Romy, if we can only have an office here in Singapore, we would sell 500 machines a month. That was when they were starting now. Okay, Najib built an office in Singapore. And from Bernard Chan, his sponsor Gary Guy, they were the ones on the stage during the event. And then Sam Sia and Cora Lok, who are Dastics in Malaysia. They are gigs in Malaysia. And then Sam Sia went to India about 10 years ago and built India. And he told me, he said, Romy, it's so hard to build in India. You set a meeting, people come 2 hours late. He persisted and was able to build India. So all of India is under Samsia. All those leaders that you see there, they're under Samsia from Malaysia. Now I asked Bernard from Singapore, how did you meet Samsia from Malaysia? And Bernard said, at the elevator. We exchanged cards. And then Samsia went to India. I was there some 10 years ago. There were 1,000 people in Mumbai, in the convention center. And I saw their presentation. They said they were gonna beat America in sales. They were saying in India. And sure enough, last year they beat the United States in sales. I've seen Cynthia on my left leg. And if one of the Indian leaders makes it to that 7, Cynthia makes it to that 8. But if Balas makes it to that 7 first, I make it to that 8. The first day where I brought in Cynthia at the meeting, I called a guy from Chicago named Franny. He's a friend of mine from different network marketing also. We've been to different markets. I said, Franny, I found this Japanese company selling this product and they have a good compensation plan and people are making money. So give me your credit card, I'm going to buy your machine and join me. Because he's a friend of mine, he gave me his credit card. And I joined him in. At the time we were selling this $4,000 machine, SD501. Anyway, the wife got mad. I was in Chicago. I told Franny, I'm going to fly to Chicago. I'm going to help you do demo. And the wife said, one time we had a meeting, the wife spoke on the stage. He said, before I hated Romy. And he let my husband buy this $4,000 machine. And then I said, return that machine to Najib. And my husband said, no, Yunila, Ron is our friend. We have to listen to him. And then Yunila said, and I told my husband, but I'm your wife. You better listen to me. And my friend Franny did not return the machine again. Today, Yunila would say, today, I'm so glad my husband did not return the machine. You know why? Because Balas is Franny's downline. So don't you ever quit this business. You never know what will happen down the line. Because I've been in this business, like I said, 18, 19 years now. I had people in my group who already does this, does for. And at one point, they went into another company. They're starting to bring other congregators into their company. So they quit. They missed out. Because the downline that they started grew so big. They have lost millions of dollars just from moving to another company. Until now, they're still looking for an opportunity. That's sad. And I was talking to Mr. Shiro one time. Mr. Shiro said, you might be very intelligent, but if your heart is not pure, you can still make mistakes. Like I said, I studied a whole lot of mentors, even today. From Tony Robbins to Jim Rohn to Zig Ziglar to Michael Maxwell. I'm reading books, watching watching YouTube videos now. Like I'm learning from the onliners. In fact, this past month, I saw one of the guys using YouTube videos and YouTube channel, and I watched it. I said, let me learn this YouTube channel. So I watched YouTube videos about how to make YouTube videos, and how to build your YouTube channel, and how to make 100,000 followers, and I just did it. 4 weeks, I have close to 100,000 subscribers. If you look at my day, it's either I'm learning or I'm teaching. That's all I do. If I'm not teaching, I'm learning. Okay? We have to continue to learn. That's our edge, Now with the ChatGPT and with the AI, what used to take me years to do, you could do like quick. What used to take so many people to do, it takes less people. I employ 10 editors today from the Philippines. The Philippines and India and UK, and I said that my raw footage becomes back to me like a movie, and I put it on YouTube. So I'm learning. A long time ago, but I have a whole lot of thumbnails. I'm from the back of that. There was a time when there is one guy, and I told about Jesus having 12 disciples. He's got 2 billion downlines on planet Earth today. Jesus Christ. So I learned a lot from that. Who is the very first big-time network marketer on this earth? There was one guy named Abraham, and God told Abraham, your descendants will be as many as the stars in the skies. That's a lot of downlines. Today, there are 8 billion people on planet Earth. The Muslims claim to be Abraham's descendants. The Christians are Abraham's descendants also through the Jewish people. That's half of the 8 billion people. That's 4 billion people from Abraham. It's a lot of downlines. Every day, if you follow my YouTube videos, you can see many of the concepts I'm talking about. Okay? And literally, we talk about the universe. I remember Eric Warren, for instance, he said, I'm going to climb this mountain to the top. Either you see me at the top of the mountain waiting, or dead on the side. But I'm going to climb. That's how I feel about this business. Okay? That's how you have to have that faith. And I still sometimes ask myself, like, why do I have that faith that I'm going to make it? By faith, I mean F-A-I-T-H. It's not F-A-A-T. Faith. There are people that have small faith, bigger faith, and great faith. And you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in your ability. You have to believe in the accountant in action. You have to believe in Mr. Oshiro. Okay, you have to believe in your upline. You have to have the faith all the time. Because once you start to waver and start to doubt, and the scripture also says that you cannot expect anything. You cannot have doubt. You have to have this unwavering faith that you will move mountains. And thank you very much.